If you feel like you've tried everything and you're still stuck, you've gone to the healer, the reader, the Reiki master, the coach, the therapist, sound baths, yoga, you name it, and you're still caught in the same loops, this is for you. No hate to any of those tools because they can be helpful. But at a certain point, you'll realize the real work isn't out there, it's in here. And if you think that you can't go within or you struggle with it, it's not a flaw, it's just a signal. That is why this ritual exists. Hi, I'm Chris Rainwaters, a ritualist, transition guide, witch, and the creator of the Ritual of Light. I don't teach fluff. I don't do spiritual escapism or pageantry. I help people rewire their reality from the root. This isn't theory, it is structure. So let's get into it.
This is for you if you're either in a tower moment, stuck in the rubble of a past one, or cannot stop dreading the next collapse. Because deep down, you know something has to change. But either you don't know what, or you just can't seem to do it. That's what this ritual is for. This is container work. You don't need more inspiration. You need reinforcement. So we already know this, right? Your nervous system, your mind, your energy field, these are the foundations of your reality. And if you've never built them with intention, then of course, everything can feel like chaos. Of course, your manifestations and your magic doesn't land. What we're doing here is the repair and reinforcement of your internal structure, the strengthening of the container so that when life shifts, because it will, you don't shatter. And if you're building your next chapter from scratch, this ritual helps you to see what's still intact, what needs repair, and what needs to expand in order to hold the life you're truly here to live. This isn't mindset work. This isn't manifestation hustle. This is structure. This is the circuitry of the soul. And when you stabilize that, you become unstoppable. If you've never examined your foundation, this is where to start. Think of this ritual challenge as a diagnostic system, not just energetic repair, but revelation. It shows you where your foundation is cracked, where it leaks, and where it simply can't support the structure that you are trying to build. But here's what most people get wrong. You don't need to bulldoze everything and start over. You just need to see clearly. Once you see what's already there, you'll realize you're not broken. You're just building on ground that was never stabilized. This ritual helps you spot the leaks, reinforce the weak spots, expand the areas that need to hold more energy. It doesn't just patch over the problems. It reroutes the wiring. It regrounds the grid, and it reconnects you to your power. Because this isn't just about your house, it's about your core. The body, the mind, the energy field, they are sacred architecture. This is geometry, not guesswork. And once you understand the structure, everything makes sense. You stop reacting to chaos and start reshaping it. You stop spiraling down and start building scaffolding to spiral up. And that's what this 44-day challenge is. It's not motivation, it's reinforcement. It's architectural precision for your evolution. I could go into how this ritual came to me, how it rebuilt me from the inside out, how it rewired my brain, reset my nervous system, and helped me remember who I was when everything else fell away. But I promised no fluff, no sugar, no fat. If you want that, go back and watch the full masterclass. This is just the lean nutrition, okay? The mechanics, the magic, the truth. So here it is. This is how it actually works. The laws that govern transformation. The architecture behind every shift you've ever tried to force. Let's start with 3. You don't need to believe in magic for this to work, but you do need to understand structure because this ritual isn't a vibe, it's a system. And it works because it's built on the core laws that shape all transformation, whether you're talking neuroscience, spiritual alchemy, or energetic architecture. Let's walk through this architecture first really quickly. Every transformation requires an active force, your will, desire, or intention, a passive force, your resistance, shadow, or pattern, and a neutralizing force, the container that can integrate both and transcend. Most people get stuck in a loop between push and pull, trying to change, active, hitting a wall, passive, and then just giving up, quitting. This ritual introduces the third force, a stable structure that can hold the tension and alchemize it. That's why it works. Not because it feels good, but because it completes the circuit. Transformation unfolds in 7 predictable stages, just like music moves through a scale. There are 2 shock points where almost everyone tries to turn back. If you don't know how to move through those, you'll loop endlessly, even if your intention is solid. The ritual aligns you with this structure so your nervous system knows how to keep going when resistance hits. This is not a guessing game, it's a map. You've been trained to think in Chronos time, how long something takes, but real transformation happens in Kairos time, the exact right moment when you're ready to receive it. The ritual bridges both. Chronos provides rhythm, do the practice, stay consistent. Kairos brings the breakthrough when everything suddenly clicks. If you stay in Chronos only, you'll quit too soon. If you wait for Kairos only, you'll miss the moment. Ritual puts you in alignment with both. That's the portal. This isn't metaphor, it's freaking real. Your brain rewires through repetition. Your nervous system regulates through rhythm. Your field responds to focused energy. This ritual hits all 3 daily because power isn't something you earn, it's something you learn to hold. And you hold it by showing up. It's medicine steeped in mysticism, distilled through science, and served in a cup of witchcraft. This isn't just energy work. It's a precision-tuned system that uses the actual mechanics of transformation, and that's why it works. So you've probably heard that everything is energy, right? But it's not just a spiritual concept, it's biology. Your brain runs on electrical signals. Your breath controls your nervous system. Your thoughts create measurable waves. In fact, you are a walking circuit board, but most people are short-circuiting. And it's not their fault. We've never been taught how to manage our internal current. We are overloaded, overstimulated, and undersupported. Here's what the science says. In a study published by Science Magazine and Time Magazine, participants were asked to sit alone with their thoughts for 15 minutes. Nearly half of them, so 67% of men and 25% of women, chose to give themselves electric shocks. Dude, one guy pushed it 190 times in that time frame. And this is not because the silence was painful, right? Because it's not, it's peaceful. It's because they had never been taught to feel safe inside their own mind. This is the real crisis. Not that we're stressed, but that is a side effect, but that stillness feels threatening to a dysregulated nervous system. And the crazy part is that study was done over 10 years ago. Can you even imagine how bad this has gotten now? This ritual, it flips that. It trains your system to crave calm instead of chaos, because the brain's default mode network, the part that lights up in rest, can actually be healing if you feel safe. Through specific breath patterns, sound, and focus, this ritual gently reprograms that safely. Let's break it down. Breathwork activates the parasympathetic nervous system, pulling you out of fight or flight and into rest and repair. Slow rhythmic breathing releases GABA and dopamine, shifting brain chemistry on demand. Intentional silence strengthens the prefrontal cortex, improving focus and willpower. and the Kirtan Kriya. So that's the chanting meditation. That is the keystone of this ritual. It's backed by peer-reviewed studies showing improvements in memory, cognition, and hippocampal function, especially in aging adults. It also positively influences melatonin production, which not only improves sleep quality, but studies are showing melatonin is a powerful antioxidant. All of this creates what science calls coherence, where your heart, brain, and breath align into a smooth, steady rhythm. You can feel the click. This ritual doesn't just calm you down. It clears static, tunes your signal, and it strengthens the circuit that is you. Because this isn't about escaping your thoughts. It's about finally becoming powerful enough to sit with them and know what to do with what you find. So who is this for? Let's clear this up right now. This ritual is not for people who want to be entertained. This is not a vibe. This is not a performance. This is not content to be binged. This is for people who are ready to do the work, but don't know where to begin or are stuck in cycles that will not break. Let me be blunt because I want to be really clear here. This is not for you if you're still waiting for someone or something out there to save you. You know, a psychic, a healer, your guides, the full moon, the right transit, the perfect relationship, a better job, a shift in the stars, right? We can use those energies, and I do, but we must anchor in ourselves first. Otherwise, we're just outsourcing our power. This work only works when you are ready to stop reaching outward and start going inward, because knowledge without action is useless. Magic without embodiment is illusion. You have to put theory to the test, and that's what this ritual is. And if you're here to just consume another teaching, hope for a miracle, or wait for a sign, this won't help you. I won't help you. And it's not because I don't want to. It's because I can't. Not yet. There will come a point, and maybe it's not now, maybe it won't even be soon, where you will circle back, okay? To me, to someone like me, because that is how this journey works. Growth or decay, expansion or collapse, life or something else. And I don't mean that as a threat or even a promise. It's just the truth of this path. You are here for a reason. And if you're already on the path, I am here to help you strengthen it, to help you build it into something solid. So when the storm comes again, you do not break. So this is absolutely for you if you have tried everything else, but you still feel like you're stuck, especially if those things were outside of yourself. Reiki, psychics, past life readers, sound healings, even therapists. No shade, because some of those can be helpful, but they will not anchor you. They can shift energy, but they don't help build structure. You are still left floating after a while. That's why it wears off, right? That's why you have to go back and try again. You have been told all the time, right, to meditate or raise your vibe, but your nervous system is fried. You can't sit still, your thoughts spiral, and just breathe feels almost impossible. You need something to hold you first before you can hold it yourself. This is also for you if you're not afraid of doing the work. You're just not really sure how, right? You know that change is needed. You feel it in your bones, but you've never been shown how to actually hold that energy and direct it. You crave something real, practical, grounded, not theory, not fluff, not something that changes all the time, something that doesn't require a certification or a guru, just your presence, your willingness, and your breath. This is also for you if you're ready to reclaim your power and start living from within. You don't want a Band-Aid, right? You want a freaking backbone. You want confidence, baby. This isn't mindset work. This isn't manifestation hustle. This is structure. This is the circuitry of the soul, natural rhythms. And when you stabilize that, you become unstoppable. So maybe you are in your tower moment, or maybe you are still recovering from one. Your heart is still sore. Or maybe you are staring one down. Things are not looking great, right? And you know something needs to change, but you either don't know what, or you just cannot seem to do it. This ritual is for that exact threshold. You are in the liminal space. This is not just to get you through it, but to build what comes next. And if you're just starting your journey, curious about magic or transformation, but you've never done real container work before, start with the full-length masterclass on YouTube. You need the context. You need the structure. You need the skin and fat to slow your nervous system down enough to actually process what's happening. This video isn't that. This is the distilled version. The challenge is the work. Let's get something straight. This ritual is not routine, and it's definitely not religion. This ritual is a mechanism. It's a circuit breaker. It's a bridge between who you've been and who you are here to become. It doesn't belong to any tradition because it predates tradition. Every culture, every lineage, every ancient system had it because they understood something modern society forgot. If you don't create intentional structure to move energy, you will be consumed by the structures that already exist. Ritual gives you structure. Ritual gives your nervous system a job, it gives your mind an anchor, and it gives your energy a target. So when life inevitably changes, and it will, you are not left spinning in circles. You are able to move with it and not against it. You are not reacting, you are directing. Everything in existence, and I mean everything, comes from three forces. This is not philosophy, this is cosmology. It's the original pattern of movement, creation, and change. And here's what it looks like. God, before form, was everything and nothing. That is the first top left there. That is pure intelligence, no experience. But God, in order to experience literally anything, there had to be contrast. So it's split into three, and that is the bottom left there, the triangle. We have the active force. This is the spark of will, the initiator, the masculine force, creation, right? Life. We have passive. That's the receptive field. The form, the feminine force. And we have the passive force. This is the resistance, the subconscious, the reconciler, right? The container, the spirit, integration. This triad shows up freaking everywhere. Everywhere. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Shiva, Shakti, Brahma, Sun, Moon, Earth, intention, resistance, alchemy, blah, 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 blah. Every transformation you have ever tried and failed at, it's because one of these was missing. You pushed, active. You met fear, passive, but didn't know how to sit in the middle long enough to transmute it, the neutral. Or you got stuck in introspective, passive, without the spark, active to change anything. Or you burned through willpower, active, without knowing how to rest or receive, passive. This ritual, this is the third force. It's container work. It doesn't eliminate resistance, right? It teaches you how to identify and wield it. If the law of 3 is the engine, the law of 7 is the process. So everything unfolds in 7s, right? 7 notes in a musical scale, 7 classical planets, 7 days of creation, 7 chakras, 7 metals of alchemy, 7 stages of grief, healing, mastery. Because energy doesn't move in a line, it spirals, ascending octaves of experience. Here's what that looks like in transformation. The first stage is calcination. This is the fire, the destruction of illusion, the I can't live like this anymore. 2 is the melt, emotional chaos, ego disorientation, nothing makes sense. 3 is separation. So this is sorting truth from falsehood. What is real in all of this? Then we have our shock point. This is where most people quit. This is too much. I'm not ready. Then we have our fourth point, which is conjunction. This is choosing integrity, aligning action with truth. This is who I really am. Then we have fermentation, the rot before rebirth, deep inner surrender. I feel like I'm dying. Then we have the next shock point. This is the final test. Do you trust what you have become? Then we have the sixth step, which is distillation, which is refinement, clarity. This is when new identity begins to stabilize. Then step 7 is coagulation. This is embodiment, integration, walking as the new self. Most people cycle between stage 2 and 3 forever. They're stuck in emotion and confusion. And the few who reach stage 5, they mistake it for failure when it's actually the last gate before breakthrough. The ritual itself and 44-day challenge walk you through this spiral intentionally. It gives you scaffolding. So when fear shows up, you don't collapse, you alchemize. Together, the law of 3 and the law of 7 are what makes this work unstoppable. You are not trying to manifest. You are aligning with the energetic architecture of creation itself. Chronos, the ticking clock, the to-do list, deadlines, and discipline. Kairos is divine timing, breakthrough moments, inner alignment. People give up when they don't see results in Chronos, but transformation happens in Kairos. You cannot force Kairos, but you can prepare for it. And when you do, it drops in like lightning. Ritual gets you out of the grind and into alignment. You don't need to believe in these laws for them to affect you. You are already living by them, consciously or not. The ritual trains you to harness them consciously so they no longer control you from the shadows. So let's talk about the Enneagram now. This didn't start as a personality tool, okay? I welcome you to do your own research if you have not yet come to that understanding, and I can point you in the right direction. There are some great teachers out there. You will stumble upon fourth way teachings as well, and this ritual will make even more sense from a theoretical standpoint when you do. I digress. The Enneagram, it is a map of transformation. It is not here to label you. It is here for you to be able to locate you. It doesn't ask who are you, because we already know the answer. You are divine. The real question is where are you and where do you actually want to go? The reason we use the Enneagram inside the ritual challenge is simple. It's one of the clearest, most precise maps for transformation ever created, and not because of pop psych typing, but because it is quite literally a geometric representation of the law of 7 and the law of 3, which we have just covered. It shows you how energy moves. It shows you where people get stuck. It shows you the exact moments where most transformation fails and what must happen to move forward. The Enneagram teaches us that every complete process of transformation requires a shock. 2, actually. 1 at the start to break you open, and 1 at the end to test your readiness to embody the shift. If you don't have those shock points, the transformation collapses. You slide back into old patterns, even if you understood them. And then it has that final summit. The moment where you are almost at the peak, right? The moment where you are in labor, the moment where the divine reaches back and hurls you to the finish line, whatever that finish may be. There is so much magic in this world, but only if we are willing to do the work and go the distance, to go as far as we can, and then let God, the universe, the divine, the all, the algorithm, whatever name you prefer, handle the rest. Energy is the one thing that never dies, that which is eternal. And that is why this journey, challenge, whatever you want to call it, is structured the way it is. Not as a linear course, but as a spiral sequence, moving you through 5 intentional rotations of the Enneagram over 44 days. It is a fast pace, but that is the point. This isn't just informational. It is a training, a tuning, a spiritual workout. Because if you can do this for 44 days, you can keep going long after. And yes, that number matters. And not because a lot of your cells regenerate in 40 days, so you're mostly a brand new person physically by the end of this, but because 44 days is exactly how long it takes to complete a full 5 rotations of the Enneagram chronologically. So it's pushing you past habit forming. It's pushing you past being an all new person, right? It's pushing you just far enough to reach your summit, whatever that may be. Because here's what we now understand through the Enneagram, through human nature. You don't just need to be it, you need to see it. That's just how we're wired. So we're not just moving energy, right? We're tuning in, tapping in, and turning on, as Abraham Hicks would say, if you're into all of that stuff. And it's great stuff. And we're doing it intentionally. So that connection doesn't just happen randomly or not at all. It becomes second nature. It stays awake. It stays alive. So each point in the Enneagram reflects a magical force, so white, black, or red, a transformational phase, so initiation, resistance, surrender, embodiment, and a different part of the self that must be activated. The Enneagram does 3 things in this challenge. It diagnoses where you are energetically and emotionally. It tracks your progression through the transformation spiral, and it prepares your system for the shock point so you don't quit when it gets hard. This is not about labeling your personality or anything like that. This is about rewiring your pattern. It's not just a shape, it's a sacred symbol, a code, a spiral staircase you climb from shadow to light. And when paired with the ritual of light, it becomes a power tool for spiritual evolution. Here's something that most people aren't going to recognize until they go way deeper. So the ritual itself wasn't created to use the Enneagram, okay? Like, that was not my intention. But what it ultimately does is freaking activate a double Enneagram structure. One spiral that moves you through force and the other through form. Together, they generate the Merkaba, your light body, which I already knew it activated, but it shows it like, oh, it's so freaking, sorry. Anyways, so your Merkaba, I'm working on a grimoire right now. Talk about it later. It's like, it's just, the synchronicities are off the chart. This is so your Merkaba is your divine vehicle for spiritual movement, if you don't know already. And again, you don't have to understand any of this for it to work. The ritual handles it all for you. But if you want to understand the mechanics and metaphysics behind it on an even deeper level, okay, again, I am working on a grimoire. It's the blueprint. This is the full map down to the little nuts and bolts. This isn't just a challenge. It is a spiritual machine designed to realign and activate the soul from the inside out. So what do you actually do, right? What are we doing here? Let's get practical. For 44 days, you will follow a guided sequence, part ritual, part reflection, and part energetic training. It's not a passive program. This is a daily practice. On average, it's 45 minutes a day. Some days are going to be shorter. Some days, especially near key transformation shock points in the spiral, right? Stretching closer to an hour. Here's the breakdown. We've got 5 to 10, max is 15 in the morning to set your intention and tune into the day's Enneagram point. I know my voice is annoying, so I have subtitled all of those so you can just have me on mute and just read it while we're going through it, so you know what to do and I don't jar you, awake with my hiya warnings, because I'm annoying. Then 35 minutes, about 30 to 35 minutes ritual practice at night, when you should be at your comfiest, right? Open, relaxed, ready to receive, and able to carry that energy into sleep. The longest one of these goes is about 45 minutes because, again, we are doing some extra little oomphs at some shock points. Not all of them, but sometimes you need a little bit more. And the reason that we split this up and do the majority of work at night is that this is embodiment, breath work, and energetic flow. And we're doing this when your body and field are the most receptive. So no long lectures from me, no fancy equipment, no fluff, just you in your space, your breath, your body, your energy, your presence, and my container, right? My structure. Each day is synchronized with a point on the Enneagram spiral. So you're not just doing a ritual, you are aligning with a precise arc of transformation. And because the spiral shifts, so does the rhythm. Some days push deeper, some days soften, but both are necessary. You don't have to understand the mechanics all up front. Again, you will feel them as you move through it. This is spiritual physical therapy. Daily consistency builds the results. Some days are going to feel like breakthroughs, others are going to feel like stillness, and some days are going to be frustrating, right? All are valid, all are part of the process. It is training, not entertainment. By showing up for the structure, it then begins to show up for you, revealing its intelligence and clarifying everything that you couldn't quite see before. If you watch the full masterclass, then you already know that I talked about astrology, alignment, and why I chose to start the last round during a very specific planetary window. That window has passed, but let me be clear now that I have experienced all of it, that timing was not the key. It was an extra layer of flavor or a spice. It was more fat and things to chew on. The real foundation of this work has nothing to do with astrology and everything to do with you. Yes, I love weaving in cosmic timing. I'm a total junkie for that kind of stuff. If you are into that, I would highly recommend starting on a first quarter moon. That's when the energy naturally supports forward motion. But again, that is completely optional because here's the truth. All of that is 64 code level stuff, right? The form side of transformation, the 3D lens. And we talked about this in the full masterclass. But the real work, the true power, it starts inward. And most people aren't ready to start at that higher octave because they haven't built the baseline yet. Yes, timing is important, but not if you can't even show up consistently. This work must begin intentionally. Then, like any true ritual, it becomes a habit. And eventually, it becomes second nature, a rhythm, a remembering. If you're already someone who lives by energetic rhythm and alignment, then you're probably not even watching this anymore. Like you are already doing this work, or you're watching for confirmation bias, which is awesome. So hit me up because I would love to compare notes with you. Comment below or whatever. But if you are not there yet, that is exactly why all of this is pre-recorded, because this ritual isn't something that can be delivered like a 9-to-5 job. Everyone all around the world has a different bedtime, right? So it's impossible to time this because you want to do it right before bed. And also everyone has a different capacity, nervous system, and pace. I tried doing this live and it just didn't work. Not because the content wasn't right, but because the container was wrong. This ritual is meant to meet you wherever you are, to walk beside you hand in hand at your pace, not mine, not the universe's, not the clock's. You need to be able to pause, rewind, reflect, and return. You need to be able to move with it, not try and race against the clock. So I had to do the hard work all up front, build the structure, map the spiral, calibrate every day. And now I deliver it to you so that you can walk it. Because yes, you will get stuck. Almost everybody does. And that's okay, especially at points 3, 6, and 8 on the spiral. But now that you understand how the process works, you will be able to see those moments for what they are. checkpoints and not stop signs. And if you wait to start until everything feels aligned, you will never freaking start. You know that. I know that. It's just how it is. Or until something smacks you into a choice that you didn't want to have to make, right? Don't overthink the timing. Just begin, because the spiral starts wherever you are. So, are you guys in? You want to work some magic with me? If you've made it this far, I'll be honest, you already know the answer, right? Because your body knows, your field knows, your spirit knows. This isn't about hype or pressure. It's about readiness. So here's what happens next. You join the challenge. You'll get immediate access to the full structure, the portal, the daily spiral sequence, the rituals, the audios, the intention prompts, the energetic grid map, and everything you need to begin walking. This isn't a passive course. This is a mechanism, a machine. You engage it, you drive it, and in turn, it engages you back. So there's two ways to do this. You can do the ritual itself and do your own structure, it's not the 44 days, it's just the ritual itself. Or you can do the full challenge, which includes the ritual of light, full course, which you can do at your leisure and master before you start the challenge, of course. And then you also get the full 44 days of grounded guided energy work mapped to the Enneagram spiral. And you'll get morning intention prompts, optional little like mini rituals. If you're like an overachiever or you're like really in and you want to go all in and burn a bay leaf every day or whatever witchy practice you want to do, they'll be in there. And a daily journal prompt if you're into journaling to align your field and track shifts. You'll get the evening guided ritual practices to move intention, energy, and build structure, and lifetime access to repeat the challenge or take your time starting the challenge. You do this whenever you want. I am not making a big splashy launch or anything out of this. No fake countdowns, no disappearing bonuses, because this is just kind of timeless stuff. So just know that this is the foundational version, okay? As the quality deepens, as the ritual refines, as we add more flavoring and stuff like that, as the magic becomes even more potent, the price is gonna too. So if you're here now and this resonates, I would trust that. It is a challenge, right? This is something meant to be done, something meant to be walked, not just bought and shelved. So if you are ready to stop circling the same patterns, if you're ready to rewire your systems from the inside out, if you're ready to actually do the work, the spiral is waiting. The link is in the video description and in my bio. The container is ready, man. The path is mapped. The structure is solid. Now, it's just waiting on you. It's your move.